Hey guys, my name's Mike. I'm here to play the worst deck on Magic Online. This is a deck that I came up with through some different iterations and have been extensively testing it. And by testing it, I mean obsessively goldfishing it over and over again on my phone. I have no idea whether it's good or not. I played it through a couple of test matches. It works sometimes, and then other times it doesn't really work all that well. So I guess I'll go through how I came up with the deck. The idea was to make a Scarab God deck. So here we have our Scarab Gods. And the idea was that it doesn't really matter what you do until you play a Scarab God, only that you play a Scarab God. And in order to do so, I figured that I would play some Explorer creatures. So we've got the Seekers Squire, the Merfolk Branchwalker, Jadelight Ranger, and then honorary Explorer creature is Champion of Wits. The looting ability that it does kind of mimics it, and it has some added benefits, which we'll get to in just a minute. So the idea was that I would explore on the way up to Scarab God, up my mana curve, and in doing so would probably end up putting some Explore creatures in my graveyard, which I could then flashback with the Scarab God and then get their benefit again, thus smoothing out my later draws, hopefully to find me some action. So the idea was that in the early game I'd be able to find land drops, and then in the later game I'd be able to find action. Built this deck in the first place, put 25 lands in it because I have this many 5 drops. Well, actually I had this many. This guy came later. And then tested it, goldfished it a little bit, and flooded out every single game. And I think this had to do with the fact that all these creatures here are finding me lands, and so I want to make sure that I have something to do with the mana. So basically I cut down on the mana. I cut down a lot. I'm cheating on mana. There's no doubt about it. 21 lands and this many 5 drops. Not to mention that this guy and this guy flashback for 7. Probably not, or probably a little bit too aggressive. That being said, this is the way we're going to test it, and we'll see what goes on. So anyways, so I got to that point. I was flooding out a lot. I cut back on the lands. I needed to add something into the deck. Figured with all these Explorer creatures, which are drawing me lands, what if when I put a card in the graveyard, that also drew me a card? So I started thinking about some cards that I could add that would give me some value from the graveyard. Scrapheap Scrounger came late. First was Resilient Kinra. May still be better as Resilient Kinra, I'm not entirely sure. I like that Resilient Kinra can block. And it has a very powerful effect when you flash it back. Scrapheap Scrounger, on the other hand, not as much of an effect, but can steal some games just by, against control in particular, just by being very resilient. Hopefully we'll be putting some other creatures in our graveyards that we can eat and flash them back. Like I said, Champion of Wits, that can definitely be flashback for value. So that's a good one to put in there. Added the Vizier of Many Faces. It kind of fills in a bunch of different roles. Sometimes it's a Glory Bringer, sometimes it's Champion of Wits, sometimes it's Jadelight Ranger. Yeah, it can just flash back for 5, which is a good value. And then Glyph Keeper. Can't tell you a whole lot about Glyph Keeper. Basically, I did a gatherer search, looking for creatures that I could get value out of. So this is Glyph Keeper. He's a 5 mana, 5/3 flyer, and basically has hexproof for 1 spell or ability a turn. So you can't kill him with 1 Abrade. You can kill him with an Abrade plus a Glorybringer activation, or you can kill him with an Abrade plus another Abrade. And then he flashes back for 7. So then you've got to do that whole dance over again. So the idea is that I could get a little bit of value out of him. It may be completely wrong. There's probably something further down the curve that I could use a little bit more efficiently, but I will say this: he is powerful. 5-mana flyer is powerful, especially the one that's hard to remove. He's got evasion, all that good stuff. He has won me games, and we'll just see what happens with him. Then we got the Scarab Gods. I added a Liliana's Death Majesty in case I needed to explore away a Scarab God earlier. Hopefully I can bring it back. She can bring back Glyph Keepers, which are really good too, especially like if they've had to deal with it the first time. Then it went to your graveyard, you bring it back, then you got to deal with it a second time, then a third time. Other than that, she doesn't do a whole lot. You don't really want to be flashing back these little guys very much. So, may not be that good, but we'll test it out. Her +1's pretty powerful too. Just adding more stuff to the graveyard and giving you a zombie. And then they also have to deal with Liliana. So they have to deal with Glyph Keeper, they have to deal with Liliana, they have to deal with Scarab God, and then worst case scenario, they have to deal with all these idiots that you have further down the curve. Added some removal into it, some Vraska's Contempt, some Fatal Pushes, added a couple of Chupacabras just because they're good to flash back with Scarab God. And that's it. We're going to test it out and see how it goes. Sideboard, I have no idea what to expect or what I need in this deck, so we just went with a nice little sampling. It's one more Moment of Craving there. A couple of Duresses, a couple of Negates, a couple of Essence Scatters. This is in your control matchups. Moment of Craving is just there for Mono Red, which is all over Magic Online. And Carnage Tyrant also for the control matchups. Also the Grixis decks that are really popular right now. Carnage Tyrant, they just don't have an answer to it. Especially when you're flashing back all your idiots, so Doomfall can't handle it. Carnage Tyrant is just game over against them. Thrashing Brontodon is there primarily for Excellence Binding. And yeah, I mean, he's got some other, he can hit an Anointed Procession, he can hit some artifacts out of some, like a God-Fearer's Gift or something like that. But hopefully we can handle God-Fearer's Gift with the Scarab God. And that's it. We're going to play a little friendly league today, because I'm not too confident on how this deck's going to go. And we'll try it out, and I'll see you there for the first game.